We need this bond, so we don't need the supplemental levy, we're saying, for a year. So we're letting that come off. That's 47 cents. And then the bond portion of the tax rate will stay consistent at $1.55.
So that's how Kuna School District's Director of School Support Services explained last March's bond election 1 week before that election. Basically, they were asking for voters to okay the funding of a 10-year, 3-phase plan to expand schools and their capacity for students. The district was hoping for $111 million to build a new elementary school, expand a couple of middle schools, and expand Swan Falls High School, making it a full-fledged, all-purpose high school. The funds collected for the supplemental levy would be going away, 47 cents per $1,000 of property value, and the money collected with the existing bond, we were told, would not increase. Well, a week later, after that interview, March 14th, that bond failed, getting only 56% of the vote, about 10% short of the 2/3 majority needed to pass. Then about a week after that, on March 20th, the Idaho legislature passed House Bill 292, the property tax bill. It would give Idaho school districts a big bag of money to pay off their existing bonds and levies, who would then pass those savings on to property owners. It would also eliminate the March election for schools to ask for more bonds and levies. That bill was vetoed by Governor Little, only to be overridden 2 days later. It's set to go into effect in 10 days on July 1st. So tax-paying property owners were given some help by Idaho lawmakers. Kuna School District saying they're expecting to get about $1.8 million to pay off their bonds. But Kuna voters failed to give their school district some help to pay for the expected 67% increase in students over the next 10 years. And now even their short-term plans may be in jeopardy. This week, the district posted a survey on their Facebook page asking parents to give their opinion on why the bond failed and how to manage growth without it. So, hey parents, would you prefer year-round school or increased class sizes? Or maybe a hybrid schedule between online and in-person instruction? Maybe you'd be okay with a half-day student, like, kindergarten, either in the morning or in the afternoon only. How about getting rid of some extracurriculars, like resource officers, or nurses? Or maybe get rid of after-school sports. That's an option. We talked about Kuna a couple weeks ago and how they didn't have the money to pay their teachers the full $6,300 bump in pay handed out by the state this last session. And now they may have to cut sports. Here's Andrew Bartline.
It's a quiet time of the year across Idaho public schools.
Yes.
But ask Kuna Superintendent Wendy Johnson.
It's actually not as fun when the kids aren't here.
And she's still dealing with a lot of noise.
We just start preparing, for the next school year.
That preparation begins well in advance because after decades of experience,
I actually started my teaching career here in 1993.
Wendy knows it's needed.
It really does impact learning because you have to cram more children into less space.
The request for more space came in the form of a bond. For a rapidly growing district, Kuna asked for $111 million to expand classroom capacity across all grade levels.
This will be probably the second iteration of us doubling in enrollment that I've been a part of.
More than 50% of voters approved the bond. However, a bond takes out debt, meaning the district needed a supermajority. It failed.
And if we don't have the space to put kids, we got to figure it out.
Now they're asking the community for potential solutions to cut costs.
We missed the mark somewhere that we need to know more. And that's what this survey is about.
The district survey asked voters what they prefer most: year-round school, in-person and online hybrid classrooms, or splitting student schedules between mornings and afternoons.
They may be realities if we aren't able to have a place for every child to learn in our school district.
And the reality gets even louder, asking voters to choose what program, if necessary, they prefer to cut. School resource officers, nurses and social workers, sports programs, full-day kindergarten, career technical education courses, and elective classes. The bottom line, pick one, if one has to go.
None of those things are things that I think I, as an educator, can get behind, because I believe in more opportunities for students so that every student's needs are met.
Do you have any idea where in this timeline, if you can't get more space to educate kids, that these questions of what are we prioritizing starts to be reality?
I think some of those initial ideas would be put into place in the 24-25 school year. That is our target. I hope that we don't have to do any of those things.
But they might. Through all the noise, solutions are needed.
So, some of those things are happening. We've already had to turn down, like, for example, open enrollment requests that traditionally we've always honored. Like, we already are talking about changing boundaries, attendance boundaries.
To be clear, no program is currently cut from the Kuna School District. This survey is asking for public feedback to understand what people would prefer if it comes to that, and also to understand what the district can do differently, learn from the past, and see what potential future bond changes they would have to be if they were to pass something in the future. And we were trying to do the math here, Brian, with that legislation you talked about earlier that eliminated March. So there's now 3 times every year. If we're doing the math in our heads, they would get November of this year, and then 2 more chances next year until it rolls into that 24-25 school year.
They also have August coming up. They
Correct.
could use August 29th of this year. They're going into November again. But this is that kind of thing. They want to find out, okay, what did we not have in this bond that we want to put in the next one that gives us a better chance of passing it? And I think some of those ideas might be just, not to say it's enough, but bringing that into the clear focus of, look, if we don't get this money, these things are on the table in the next 2 years. That's a big deal, I think.
Yeah, the big priority is we need space to teach kids. That is what a school's initial focus is to do. But then it becomes, well, the theater program, that's not cheap to be buying wood, creating sets, things of that nature. And potentially 2024-25, they would have to make a decision. They're asking questions from people. What would that decision be if we have to?
And if it comes down to cutting the cross-country team or the wrestling team, that could change a few minds.
It is possible.
All right. Thank you very much, Andrew.